And welcome back to Habs Unfiltered, episode 427. I'm your host, Blain, and I'm joined now by my co-host, Matt Smith.
Good afternoon.
So we are recording. It is Wednesday afternoon, February 12th. Canada and Sweden are going to be playing in the Four Nations later today. And Trege unfortunately couldn't meet us for this one. He's dealing with some family, so we wish him and his family all the best. Nothing serious, guys. You don't need to be too worried about him. He's just doing what a good man would do and just take care of his family.
Yeah, we miss him though.
All the holes in the wall behind his head prove it.
No, we definitely do. Like it's not the same not having everyone around and everything, and it's kind
Yeah,
of few and far between that we're able to lately get everyone together. So hopefully in the near future we'll be able to get everyone together. Hopefully by trade deadline, end of the Four Nations, something like that, and be able to really connect and give our viewers what they want.
more Trege.
More Trek.
All right. Before we kick it off, though, a couple of housekeeping items. Uh, for those who follow the show. We have a couple of partners that are providing you a deal. BioSteel is one of our new partners. They're providing you 20% off. You use Habs Unfiltered 20 when you buy anything on their online store for anything that they sell online. It's a Canadian company for those who are focused on buying local. No Name Hockey, our longest serving partner. No Name Hockey is based out of Winnipeg, and they will provide you 10% off your purchases online using the code HABS10. Now, for the other item, everybody that follows the show and talks to us, and all our friends out there, I want to thank you for continuing to support us and providing us information when um, bad people do dumb things. There are trolls out there that like to pretend they're one of us and say really stupid shit. They are not. It's only me, Matt, and Treg. That's it. We're the only three. Nobody else. So continue reporting the trolls and letting us know. And we want to thank our community for rallying around us and helping us out deal with just juvenile shit.
Yeah. It's the same shit. It's the same shit every time too, and it's getting old. And again,
Yeah.
to kind of echo with what you're saying, again, we're the only ones that do this show. A lot of the stuff that's been said, it gets back to us, and again, like there's some people that are new to the show or that are looking for a Canadians content podcast, and then they're seeing this kind of stuff, and it really brings us down when this stuff kind of gets shared or other accounts kind of chime in and everything, and it just doesn't make us look good. So again, thanks for bringing that up. But again, it's just the three of us that do it: Treg, myself, Blaine. And again, thank you for everyone that's reported it and brought it to our attention
And now on to the show.
on the show.
So we're going to kick it off with a little bit of forward looking to the trade deadline and some Jake Evans and Yoel Armia talk. So uh, both of them are in expiring contracts. There's been a lot of chatter about them online about how they're more than likely gone now, especially with Evans, with Pierre LeBrun saying how they're far apart on contract negotiations. So, Matt, what do you think is going to happen in the next couple of weeks?
You know what? Before they went on this losing streak, I really thought that they would utilize one or both of these players as their own rentals, um, either as a rental or be like, hey, you guys together make up a very good fourth line. They're playing essentially third line minutes with the amount that they're on the penalty kill. Armia plays the power play at times. Jake Evans, hell, he was on the first line the other day playing with Caulfield and Suzuki. So they're showing that their versatility. Um, Chances are, who knows, like are they on their way out? But it's looking more and more so based on kind of the upward trajectory the Canadians have to go on, and kind of an unrealistic winning percentage that they're going to need to make the playoffs. Um, in terms of maybe contract or length of contract, that might be the issue. I don't know if money's going to essentially the issue here. You're looking at a player that has carved out a position within this team. He is a very good fourth liner. He's a good third liner on some teams, and again, he's essentially playing third line minutes with the penalty killing and everything else. He loves Montreal. And for you to get a player like Jake Evans, who is a good penalty killer, can play up and down the lineup, can kill penalties, and he was a seventh round pick, I think you did quite well. He's been within the system for a long time. He's been a good, he's been a good player for the Canadiens. He's been a good representation of the Canadiens.
I think well, I mean, he fits what the Canadians have been wanting to build. He was here obviously before the new regime showed
Yep.
up,
Yep.
and like you said, seventh round pick. The team developed him after his time at Notre Dame. He made his way up. That's a huge coup for the former regime, uh, and that's great. But we're here and now, and I agree with you. Had the Canadians at least gone 500 in those 6 games prior to this break,
Yep.
I think they would have more than likely just stuck with everybody. But now, uh, I don't see a chance for own rentals here for all of the UFAs, especially for a guy like Evans, he's in a contract year and he's having a career year. He's
Right.
going to be asking a lot more than what it sounds like Hughes is willing to pay. He's got a set value in term in mind, and he doesn't want to go past that. And it seems that Evans has kind of priced himself out of that range, especially when you consider looking forward. Uh, Evans is looked at as a really good fourth line center
Yes.
who can fill in up and down lineups and fill spots temporarily. So there's a value to that, but he's looking for third liner, maybe
Right.
kind of money and longer term, which I can't blame him. So
Right.
I honestly think this means he's probably going to be gone before we see the Canadians play another game.
He could be, or he could be, or you know what, they might see what they can do when they get back from this break.
Yeah,
We'll get into who's actually playing for the Four Nations, but everyone else is on a break,
yeah.
including Jake Evans. So could we see him moved? I say more than likely. But if you can turn a seventh round pick and set into a second round pick, or possibly a prospect, which I think that they would probably swing for a little bit more. If not, whatever pick that is, I could see them flipping it because they have an abundance of picks within the next couple of years.
Exactly.
And you can only stock the shelf so much. Unless there's a player out there that you're like, that's the guy I want, you go for him. But just to have picks to take and to utilize them and kind of push the other people out doesn't make any sense at this point. Um, so I'm looking at Jake Evans, and again, I think it's more. I don't know if it's a dollar amount. I think it's term. This is a
This term,
guy,
I do
right?
think it's term. Yeah,
I think he's probably looking for a 5 year deal at least, probably
my
because
assumption.
if he can utilize if he can be utilized within the role that he's in, which he does well, and I said he's been a good guy on this team. He's been there for the ups and downs. There's only so many opportunities for a player like this and in their careers.
Yeah.
So he's probably looking at more longevity as opposed to dollars. So if you have
Overall
so,
dollars. Yeah.
Yes. So if you can bring in, like, if you have a player that is essentially a fourth liner that can secure himself more than a 1 or 2 year deal, the player is very smart to do that.
Oh,
And and
100%.
if he doesn't think that he can do it in Montreal, then yes, he's going to be moved, and he's probably gonna someone's gonna. pay a UFA price for Jake Evans in the summer.
I think that is the more likely scenario, just because, like I was talking about before, they have a set role that they plan for him in going on in the future, set amount, set term, and I don't think any of that meets what he's thinking.
Right.
I think there's too much of a chasm there. Um, but on the flip side, I have people who have been telling me just overpay for him. Screw it. Next couple of years, it'll be worth it for the next 2 years out of the 4 or 5 that you sign him for. And while that may be true, even with the cap going up, like what, 25 million bucks over the next 3 seasons?
Whatever it is. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty big jump. Yeah.
you start to overpay for people. Like they'll say, well, you overpaid for the fourth liner. I'm a second
Yeah,
liner. Why aren't you
that's
paying
right.
more for me?
Yeah,
So it starts to snowball. You cannot afford to overpay your character, or like your depth players
agree. And
when
you've
you
got
haven't even
players
secured.
and you've got players that are coming up,
Exactly. So people
right?
need contracts. Like
You've
you
got
think
Owen
Demidov
Beck.
is coming,
Yeah, you've
he'll
got
need
Owen
one.
Beck. You've
Yep.
got Oliver Kapanen,
Yep.
started the season with the team.
Joshua Roy.
Yeah,
Like those guys, like the guys that everyone talks about being the future of the team as depth players. Um, you start overpaying for your depth players now. When does it stop?
right.
That's going to kill your cap.
Yeah.
So instead of
If they
overpaying.
want to land some of these big fish, they need some of the money to pay them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to be financially, you need to discipline yourself financially on stuff like that,
Yeah.
which is why I still think he's probably gone. But his value is extremely high. Like I
I
think it's
think it
going to
is.
be
I think it
going to
is. And
a lot of
you
teams
look
are going
at
to want him.
well, you look at multiple teams throughout the league. I look at a team like Los Angeles.
Who
Play,
desperately need penalty killing.
plays a very defensive style game. He would fit in
Yep.
perfectly. And you know what? Someone even online brought up the thing, brought up the notion of a package deal because Armia and Evans play so well together. You know, Evans would obviously be the strong point of that deal, how you look
Mhm.
at it. But a 2-for-1 deal or something like that, you know, depending on what the return is,
Clearly.
I
Yeah.
can see them more than likely getting broke up. But there is going to be teams that are going to be calling on Jacobs and on Army.
Yeah. And out of those two, like, so we'll just assume both are traded tomorrow, just for the sake of this discussion. They won't be. Just making it clear. They need to be replaced on the roster. So Armia, as good as he has been this season and last, and as good as he is on the penalty kill, um, internally that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, Emil Heinemann's going to be coming back from injury very soon, so that's kind of a replacement that's internal that's not there right now.
Right.
So I'm not overly concerned there. It's the center depth that's really concerning me. And you look at who internally that can replace him. Owen Beck, Jared Davidson, two really solid uh, prospects, but are they ready to step up into the NHL? And even if they are, what are you doing to Laval, who's in the race to be first overall in the league?
That's right. You don't really want to decimate them that much. I could see if they move someone that someone else is going to come back to kind of fill that role, or it's going to be a waiver pickup.
Yeah, something to some filler for the rest of the season.
Yes. I don't think that they're going to want to pull too much out of Laval with how they're playing right now. Caden Primo's found his confidence. It's kind of too bad that it's at the AHL level, not at the NHL level. But he's 10-0 with a 1.96 goals against and a 923 save percentage.
I hear that's pretty
So
good.
it's pretty damn good. And that team right now is one of the top, if not the top, in the entire AHL.
Like
So
2-3, I think.
right? So you don't want to be pulling too much out of that because they've built a winning culture, and even with some of the injuries that they have, they're still putting the puck in the net. And they're still finding ways to win games, and there's been games where they've been out of it, like the Canadiens, and come back and win in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, and late goals and all that, overtime, the
So
whole 9 yards.
I could see, for instance, like even though I think that he would be better off being in Laval right now, I could see a guy like Harvey Pinard being called up.
Yeah, because I don't think they care too much about his progression at this point.
Right.
There's, I don't, they don't seem to have him in their future plans. So
Yeah.
guys like that, like Laurent Dauphin, those kinds of guys.
I don't know if he's on. I think he's only on a AHL deal though.
Well, it's those types of players
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
You know, guys that, they could be filler, but there's no real future plan for them.
Right,
They'd use them first, I think.
right.
But what does that say to what does it tell the team? They start selling these pieces now. Like it's kind of throwing the towel in. But there's still other players. Like Savard is still out there. There's even
Christian
rumors of
Dvorak.
Matheson being
Right.
of interest to people.
Yeah.
Like, where do you draw the line?
You know what? Everyone has a price. Everyone has a price. They've got their core, but at the end of the day, everyone's got a price. Um, but I do think that the main four that they're going to be talking about are going to be Armia, are going to be the UFAs. They're going to be Armia,
Yeah.
Evans, Dvorak, Savard. I can see three out of four of them moving. I don't know if Dvorak will move, just based on the fact that I think they'd either have to add something or they would at least have to retain money.
With Dvorak, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I wouldn't mind keeping him moving on, like
Yeah.
signing him to a new contract,
Right.
clearly for less money.
He has been playing a lot better as of late. He's winning faceoffs like a son of a bitch. He's at 57% for faceoffs this year.
Yeah. And with the
So,
center depth that the Canadians have, you really could use uh, a center like Dvorak who can take those defensive draws, who can play a
right,
little bit of defense, take over Evans's role when he leaves. He
right.
may not play as well, but you kind of need somebody there. Can't
Absolutely,
just trade them
absolutely.
all.
Right. But again, there's going to be teams that are calling, and I think that
Yeah.
I like everything. I think Hughes has his price for these players, and if it's met, the players out the door.
Agree.
I don't think negotiations have stalled because I honestly believe if they could bring back Evans Armia and then have a healthy Heineman on that line, that they would be interested in bringing that fourth line back because it has been effective for them this
Mhm.
year.
And I could see them wanting to re-sign both players uh, for maybe $1 million more total. Like out of the you add up their two contracts plus $1 million, and then you kind of divide
Yeah,
it between the two.
I could
I
see
think they'd be
Armia.
happy with that.
I could see Armia taking a pay cut and that pay cut going to Evans.
Essentially, yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see it happening. I don't think that's going to be what's going to happen, but I think that would be ideal for the Canadians to retain those players if that were to happen.
Right.
But I don't see it. And I agree. You get Heineman back. You got your fourth line that was really setting a tone for the
It was.
entire team.
Yeah.
And would that be enough to get them into a playoff position at the end of the year? Probably not, but it keeps them in the mix.
Right.
Um, but what are you going to do? But anyway, we're at the point now. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we're at the Four Nations tournament. The Canadians do have some players in that tournament. Contrary to popular belief, the team does have good players.
They do.
So why don't you
One.
walk us through who they are?
So Team Canada being represented by Sam Montembeault. Unfortunately, don't think he's going to see the ice during the tournament.
No, I think he's the third goalie.
He's the third goalie in my opinion, and I think that's the way it's going to stay.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, just for him to be named to this team and to be around such good players and kind of be around that atmosphere, I hope that it kind of rebounds him into this after the break, and he kind of says to himself, "Look, I did deserve to be there. I did deserve to be on this team, etc." And hopefully, it just gives him a nice boost for the next part of the season. But the way that it's looking, Jordan Bennington's going to get the puck or going to get the start, and they're looking at it as a one goalie system. If he plays well, he's going to continue to play. If he falters, Aiden Hill's going to be the next one up.
It's going to
Um,
help his confidence going forward, I think.
yeah, 100%. It should. It really should. Like he should look at himself and be like, look, this I played well at the World Championships. I'm I've kept, all right, for the most part, I've helped keep a team that should be lower in the standings a little closer to the mix. Obviously, lately the whole team hasn't been in the mix.
No,
But
no,
but you know what? You look at Canada and you look at the roster, and you could argue that Suzuki should be on it. Unfortunately, he's not, but he's continued to play well, and hopefully he'll be in contention for the Olympic team. No players on Team USA, and unfortunately for Cole Caulfield, again, another guy that could be on that team. He's not. No Swedes. And Finland has two with Patrick Laine and your Armia.
woo, go team
So as of right
Finland.
now, yeah. So as of right now, Patrick Laine is on the second line with Sebastian Aho and Rupe Hintz, and Joel Armia is on the third line with Teuvo Teravainen and Eric Halla, and Patrick Laine is also on the first power play unit when they're running a five-man unit, which is Aho, Hintz, Rantanen, Laine, and Barkov. So
Sounds pretty good.
sounds pretty good. I could expect him to maybe pot a couple in Montreal and yeah, kind of make the fans a little bit happy.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think Armia is gonna like Armia always steps up in international
He
play,
does. He does.
so it'll be interesting to see just how much. And with him being a an upcoming UFA, that might actually help his trade value
Well,
go up too.
I'm looking at both these players, but yes, especially Armia, who does step up when it comes time to
Yep,
international play, and they're playing in Montreal for the first part of the tournament.
exactly. In front
So
of a lot of scouts.
yeah, so that's going to give you, at least it should give you a nice boost.
And with Line A, I think the tournament comes at the right time. There's been
Yes.
all this bullshit online about how there's a friction between him and St. Louis, which I think is absolute garbage,
No.
because Laine has seen his ice time diminish drastically.
Yeah.
But to his own credit, he admits that he does not deserve much more ice time than what he's
Right.
getting.
Right. I think that's more of a conditioning thing, to be honest. I really do.
I agree.
I think he came into the year and I think he would have been ready to go, but you know, the knee injury and then jumping right in. And yes, it didn't take him very long to start scoring goals and everything, but you can tell that his overall conditioning and his 5-on-5 play just wasn't there. So I
And
believe,
speed.
yes, you look at a full off season for this guy, maybe a couple moves, put him with the right players. I think Patrick Laine will be just fine in Montreal.
Yeah, and they've already had a practice in Montreal, wearing their national colors on the Canadian on Bell Center ice, and they look pretty good. And Line seemed to be in very good spirits.
Yes.
Armia clearly he's always pretty high, you know, happy go lucky kind of guy. He's businesslike, but he's a happy dude. And with Line, if he can get the confidence back underneath him and play well in this tournament, it, it's good for him professionally. You know, he helps his country. That's great. He um, he looks better as a player. That'll build his confidence a little bit more. But it's also going to help the Canadians down the line.
Yes.
And with everything that he has gone through to get to where he is now, mentally and physically, I would really like to see him do well in this tournament.
As would I. And you know what? For me, it's extra hockey for him, and it's playing
Yeah,
with some good players,
he knows.
right? That he knows, and it's he should be playing with better players. I think we all know he should be playing with better players. That's not a shot at Evans and Armia that he's been playing with lately,
He's not a
or
fourth liner.
exactly. exactly, or a glorified third line or anything like that. Like this is a top six guy every day of the week. Yes, the goals have dried up a little bit. The power play has not looked the way that it has, etc. But we know that we still have something within this player, and it's up to the player and up to the team and the coaching staff to find the best fit for this player.
And we're going to keep in mind too. You look at his goal scoring numbers this season, prorated over an 82 game schedule, and it's over 40 goals.
Right.
So is he really doing that poorly? No,
No,
no, he's not.
no.
And you can tell he can do better.
Yes. And he knows he can do better.
Yeah.
Fans know that he can do better.
So even now, when he's nowhere near his best, he is still scoring at a pace that most players just can't meet.
Yeah. And everyone should just calm down because next year he's going to have Mikko Rantanen with him and everyone's going to be happy. So you heard it here
Exactly.
first. You heard it here
Yeah.
first. He's not staying in Carolina. Let's just say that.
No, I don't think he will. But he's definitely going to do some damage for them in the playoffs.
I think so.
Um, yeah. So from there, so looking at the four nations, I mean, honestly, throughout the season, I haven't really been that stoked about it. I haven't been looking forward to it as, like, a kid at Christmas kind of thing, going, oh boy, it's almost here.
Right.
But now that it's here, um, I'm going to be watching this thing. And
Absolutely.
you got the best players in the NHL, well, for the most part, in the NHL playing in this tournament. So it's going to be really good hockey.
Yes. And it's going to be competitive. It's going to be like again. I was at the World Cup of hockey. I was able to see multiple games, and it wasn't like an all-star game. Like those guys were out, they were playing hard. There was forecheck. There was like they wanted to win this, and this is going to be the same thing as a lot for a lot of these guys. I'm not going to say that guys like McKinnon and McDavid aren't going to play hard, but they know that they're on the Olympic team. You look at guys on the Canadian team like I don't know, like Konechny, like Sam Bennett, those kind of guys that are maybe on the outside, maybe looking in, where perhaps somebody like a Shifley or Suzuki could take their spot. You might see them play a little bit harder, maybe hit a little harder, and you know, try to say to the coaching staff because chances are this coaching staff and this management group going to be the same one for the Olympic team. So
Yes,
if you can impress them, I think you're doing really well. And then on the goaltending side, probably two out of three of these goalies aren't going to be on the Olympic team.
probably not. I think they're going to, it's not like there's a lot to pick from for Canada and
There's
goaltending at
not,
this
but
point.
like I think they fucked up not bringing Logan Thompson.
Oh, 100%.
He should have been on. He should have been on the team
Or Fleury.
or Fleury. Yeah,
Like, as much as I want,
just to have him there.
yeah, exactly. As much as I like having Sam Montembeau there,
Yeah,
I do think Fleury would have been better in that position.
I think so.
It's he's the consummate professional. He is a team guy, a room guy, the good in the room kind of guy, and it's his swan song. And a lot of guys really respect him, and he can still play if he
Yes,
needs to. I
yes.
mean, Habs fans know they just watched him pitch a fucking shutout.
That's true.
So
That's true. Yeah. But you look at the teams in general, and we'll start with Canada. They're pretty much they're stacked. They're stacked. They've got a good
yep,
defense. They just picked up Drew Doughty for Petrangelo. Their forward group is stacked. Like when you have McKinnon, McDavid, Crosby, and then you look lower down your lineup and you still have guys like Braden Point, Braden Hagel, Brad Marchand, etc. I think your team's going to do okay. Defense, you've got Kel McCarr, who's just insane. Their Achilles heel is going to be their goaltending, 100%. And it's going to really end up being like, what is this going to turn into?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then just in comparison to all four of these teams all have strong rosters. They all have
Yes.
game breakers on
Yeah.
them. They
Yeah.
all have, but they all have Achilles heels.
They do.
Canada's goaltending. Finland is depth.
Finland is
Sweden,
100% depth and defense. Their defense has been just obliterated.
exactly. Injuries, people not there,
Yes.
just aging out, all that stuff. Sweden, they're they're also a problem with defense, but it's because they're all very offensive minded.
Very
So
much
they're going to
so.
be
Yeah.
they're going to be they're going to be in a speedway race with
Yeah.
that team. And then you got the Americans who,
They've
you
got a
know,
lot of offensive firepower, that's for sure, and
yeah,
they've got a lot of grit on their team too.
they do. And they're but the issue I see with that team is it's being built to play a specific um, type of way
Yes.
that would benefit a playoff series, but not so much a short tournament.
Right. Right.
So these one-off games, I mean, it might work out for them, might not.
Right.
Um, at the very least, they'll finish in the top four.
Yeah.
So who do you think is going to end up out of those four teams playing in that final game?
I'm gonna say I can't go against Canada. I just can't do
Well,
that.
no, it's
Right?
clearly
So
Canada. I'm just
right,
thinking who's the other team.
So Canada's there for me, and I think that we honestly might see a surprising team. I'm gonna say Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna say they could just like based on the fact that they've got Philip Gustafson, they got Linus Allmark. They've got two good goaltenders. Um, I would like I just I kind of because of all the shit that people were saying and saying that it's the state's tournament to win, it's
Yeah.
this, it's this. They got some great players on their team. They've got arguably the best goaltending with Hellebuck and Ottinger. I want to see a team just kind of play spoiler to them. And it's a three two
I
one and it's a 3-2-1 system, right? So all these points are going to matter in a short tournament. So if teams don't come out flying, they're going to be on the outside looking in.
I think Finland and Canada.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's going to be Finland is going to play the spoiler for the Americans because of
Okay.
their goaltending and defense. They can grind down the American team.
Right.
They really do match up
Yeah.
really really well.
Yeah, they're a
And
very defensive minded team, but at the same time, you turn the puck over to them, it's in your net.
it could be, yeah, because they
Yeah.
have the shooters, they have the speed, but you look at Finland's overall international play, top to bottom, they are always a two-way grinding team
Right.
that you just they're annoying
They're
to
always
play
in it. They're
against.
always in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see that at a higher level with this, and I do see them playing the Achilles heel to the Americans,
Right.
and I would love to see the Nova Scotia line for Canada just play the hero. You know, it's
Right.
one last time seeing Marchand and Crosby and McKinnon together,
Yeah.
and then
As of right now they're not together. They got Mark Stone
no,
on that other wing, and they've had Crosby at center. They've had McKinnon at center. The way I look at it, either or you're good, but Nathan
yeah,
McKinnon, he controls the ice so well, and he always wants the puck on his stick. He's much better suited playing center.
yeah. I mean, Canada's pretty
E-
rich up the middle.
Even if you put Crosby at center as your third line center, probably the best third line center you're ever going to see.
Yeah, somebody
And
whose face is going to be on the Mount Rushmore of hockey.
if you can have McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby as your top nine for centers, I think you're doing okay.
Well, I guess
I think you're doing all right.
it'll be better, I
Yeah.
suppose.
We got a couple minutes left to go into another subject if you'd like.
Um, well, we can talk. We can just throw it in there. We were talking about the Canadians' future and next
Yeah.
season, and how Line A is going to bring some scoring. I think the Canadians. Um, I'm not too concerned about their offense as much as I have been in the past because Demidov is on his way over.
He is, and he's been on an absolute tear since the Canadians went over and visited. He's got 45 points now in 53 games. Just was at the All-Star game.
He
Multiple
was
Rookie of the
filthy goal
Week.
there.
Yeah, multiple Rookie of the Week honors. Likely going to be Rookie of the Year in the
Oh,
in
yeah.
the in the league. Guy has been just tearing it up since that visit. Uh, 100% he's coming over to the Canadiens next year, and the fans are going to absolutely fall in love with this guy. Craig Button just released his list of top 50 NHL affiliated prospects. Demidov was in at number one. Jacob Fowler was at 13th, and Michael Hage was at 41. So Canadians three on the list. We kind of laughed off air saying that Montreal could have went 1-2 if they would have selected Ryan Leonard in the draft over Reinbacher.
Yeah.
That's not again, I'm not saying anything shitty about, the pick is in, just my personal pick and yours as well. Like, we were at the draft.
Yeah.
We both wanted Ryan Leonard, and right now with how he's playing, 25 games, he's got I think 33 points, 25 games, something like that. Like, the guy's playing very, very, very well, and it's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame that we can't say that we have the 1-2, but it is what it is. I think Demidov's going to be a force. Fans are going to love him. And you put him on a power play with, say, you put him on a power play with Laine, Caulfield, Suzuki, and Hudson.
Yeah.
Hey, good luck.
Yeah. And I mean, you look next season, the Canadians have Caulfield, they have Line, they have Demidov, more than likely. That's three really, really talented offensive players that you can spread across three lines. I'm not saying
Right.
they will.
Yep.
I'm just saying you can.
Yep.
My guess is Demidov would start down on a third line and then work his way up. I
Right.
mean, that's just how St. Louis works. Um, but yeah, no, seeing that that player falling to 5 in that draft, uh, I know a lot of people were praying and hoping to any god that would listen to them, or calling in threats to make sure it would happen. I don't know, blackmail, but it happened.
Yeah.
He did fall to 5, and I think that that is going to become the turning point for the Canadiens rebuild.
Yeah.
Is getting that player. All right, so the future looks bright. The trade deadline's murky. There's going to be all kinds of stuff happening between now and then. Canada, obviously, we're the greatest, uh, and deserve the respect from the world. And I would just like to say thanks to everyone for listening and uh, interacting with us and sharing this community with us. There's a ton of great podcasts out there that cover the Canadiens. Go check them all out. They're amazing. Every single one of them. Obviously, listen to us too. So,
Listen to
but
us first.
yes, yeah, but listen to them as well. So again, thank you very much. And remember, if you're talking about it, so are we.